So if you're making a big decision, like even a dress to wear to a wedding as a guest, we often ask other people's opinions, but then when it comes to picking our baby name, we kind of want to keep the gender a secret. People also aren't as polite with their comments. I think they know that you're going to take it personally if they say that dress looks horrendous on you, but they don't mind telling you their bare honest opinions on your baby names. Like Margot, like Wesley, they're going to come out with some points of view that you might not always like, but I'm not going to do that for you. So I am a baby name consultant, and I asked for some baby name dilemmas that you have. I have very minimal, extremely minimal bits of info because these are from Instagram, and I'm going to try and help you name your babies. Let's do it. Let's name all the babies in the world. That is my mission. As I said, I've got very minimal info, but I will tell you at the end how you can download my full kind of consultancy pack and do it at home by yourselves. It sparks conversations, gets you thinking about names in a totally different way. So let's go to the gram. So first up, a sister for Harlow. I absolutely love the name Harlow. The last name is Moody, which is quite a common name, maybe not always the most happy of names, but it's very, very common. And then the middle name must be Rose. So I always was thinking, what is your sort of style if you already have a Harlow? Like Harlow actually means Army Hill, which I don't think was why you chose it. It's kind of celeb-y because of Jean Harlow, so it's got that sort of vintage vibe, but it's also extremely modern. So I kind of wanted to find a name that really complements it for those style reasons. So I have gone with, first up, Delilah. So I love the name Delilah. I've always really liked it, and I think Delilah and Harlow mirroring those L sounds between the two names really, really works. I think they sound a really, really good pair. It's not overly fussy, it's really easy to say, but it's got that same sort of grand beauty. It means delicate, which is really, really nice. And I think Delilah Rose Moody sounds so good, bringing the D from the surname as well. Ticks for me. Next one I did is the name Cassidy. Slightly different, but I absolutely love the name Cassidy. It's got that sort of surname as first name vibes, but they're extremely feminine and work really, really well as a first name. I feel like Cassidy's got the same kind of vintage mod edge. Like the picture that I get in my head when I hear the name Harlow is Kate Moss's 30th birthday party. Is that really specific? And I just feel like Cassidy really fits with it, and I love the nickname Cass, and I love the nickname Cassie as well. The last one I've done is the name Eden. So a gender neutral gem, but really, really popular for girls. It means paradise garden, of course. And I think that Harlow and Eden, again, just got that cool girl vibe and edge to it. I think this mum's gonna like really simple, really easy to pronounce names, but they're a little off the beaten track. So which one of those do you think? Eden Rose, Delilah Rose, or Cassidy Rose as a sister for Harlow? So a brother for Ella, it must have 2 syllables and they cannot be shortened. So Ella is in that really sort of traditional but different vibe. So it's a safe name, but it's also got something a bit special to it. So it's a short form name. You're not going to shorten it so much. You could go L. So I really liked this brief, and I reckon that this one probably looked at a lot of the more traditional 2-syllable boy names. So I've gone to try to find ones that are a tiny bit different for her, a little bit in her style. So Ella and Caleb. So I love the name Caleb. It's really, really cool. It's a biblical name. It means bold and brave. And I think the E and the L sounds, but the other way around. See what I've done there? Switch the order. I think is really cool. And I think it's the one she might not have thought of, but might really hit a lot of her criteria. I also did Felix, which means fortunate. What I love about Felix is the fun bits at the end. So you're not going to shorten it. It means fortunate or lucky. So really, really cool. And I think Ella and Felix sound dead trendy together. I've done Ella and Otis. So Otis is a really popular boy name here in the UK. It's not really at the top, but it is rising steadily year on year, which I really like about it. Again, I like that it's got the strong ending, so you're sort of going through the whole name and it feels really complete, which is what I think she's saying. She doesn't want it to be shortened. Otis is really lovely. It means wealthy. Cha-ching! And I think Ella and Otis sound great. A wild card I've done for her, which I don't think she's gonna like, but who knows, was a name based on name meaning. So Ella means fairy, which I think is really cool. It means fairy maiden in particular, which I thought was really lush. So I did Aubrey, which means elf ruler. Don't know if she's into the sort of elf and fairy vibe, but I also do think that Ella and Aubrey with the A and the A sound dead cool together, and I would totally list. Next mum has a little boy already called Robin. Such a cool name ever for boys and for girls, and she did say double tick if it's a gender neutral neutral name, but she wants something nature-led, nature-inspired and old-timely. She may as well be me. So I've got a really long list of her, and I have actually already heard back from her on the ones she likes. So spoiler alert, I can tell you which one she liked, which is cool. So I did Oleander, Oleander, Oleander. It's actually a really vintage name, and it's such a cool alternative to like Oliver, which is right at the top, and it's an evergreen plant. So I think Robin and Oleander sound really, really cool because it's got the O and the R, really, really works. And I like that his name is a little bit longer as well. I did, in her brief, I absolutely think the name Basil suits. Basil is a bit of a Marmite name, because you either love it or hate it. It's coming back but slowly down the chart, so it really is for a quirky namer because it's very vintage and it's been out of style for quite a while. But obviously it's the herb basil. I know that in America they say basil or something different like that. We like to change things around, but I absolutely love that. I actually think that's why you should use basil in America, because it really, really works as a vintage name. Hits her brief. And I did Orson, a little bit different, but it means baby bear. And I thought with Robin being a bird name, Orson might be really, really cool, and they look good together. I did Heath. So a heath is a large open plain, so where we have like meadow, prairie and things like that for girls. I really love the name Heath. I have seen somebody use it recently, a celeb. Who was that? And I thought, good for them. That's what I thought. And I think it's a really simple one syllable, but so strong. Very rugged, handsome-y type of name, Heath. Then for her gender neutral ones, I did Brooke, Ashby and Bay. So all of those sort of gender neutral nature word names. She really liked Oleander, boop, 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 which is really, really cool. Boop, 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 what was that? And she also really liked Ashby. So I hope she goes with one of those. Robin and Ashby sound gorgeous together. I would be obsessing over that baby name announcement. Next up was a literary boy name. Good that these are boy name heavy this week, because often we get a lot of girl names, but you get the girl inspiration from the sisters, because the sister is called Harriet, which I absolutely love, and she kind of wants a vibe of Harriet. So sometimes it's nice to have more information, but sometimes you can just riff off the name, and Harriet's kind of strong enough maybe for me to do that. So the ones I've done for immediately, you think Atticus for a literary boy name and in her style, but I don't think you can have Harriet and Atticus. It's very, very, you might spit on people quite a lot when you're trying to say their names. It's too matchy-matchy. So other names within her style, Caspian. So Prince Caspian was the C.S. Lewis book. He wrote Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe series, and he wrote the Prince Caspian series. Caspian is the name of a sea, so it's very romantic, very handsome, very literary kind of a name, and I think it's really perfect. Harriet and Caspian, they sound just good enough together, because you don't want a name that's too less, you don't want a name that's too much. There has to be a sort of a pairing when it comes to siblings, which is an art, let me tell you. This is art we're doing. I did Hugo and Harriet. I think are really, really sweet together. I've always loved the name Hugo. There is a book series called Hugo for young adults. There's Victor Hugo, who wrote Les Mis, but it's just got that sort of literary cute boy vibe that I think really pairs with Harriet. And the last one I did was Wilbur. So I love this name. It means brilliant. Wilfred is more commonly used and Wilbur's further down, but that's why I love it, and it's from Charlotte's Web, and I think it adds such a little playfulness to the name. I think it's really adorable for a baby. I know a lot of people sometimes don't like these sort of older names on babies, but I think it's so cute for a little toddler. Imagine if you were in, like, you know, singing class and they were like, this is Wilbur. I'd be like, I am going to be friends with his mum, basically, because I like her baby name, and that's how you make friends. Next up was Holly, is the name of the little girl. She's already chosen the name Holly. She really loves it, but she wants to honour her mum, who's called Sheila, but she doesn't love the name. So she was looking for kind of tribute names. So we've kind of settled on calling them tribute names, because it's like a tribute to a song. It's not actually the song, it's a tribute to it. So these are tribute names for Sheila, and it's very hard because I'm pairing it with Holly. So I did write Sheena, which is the name I love, but I think Holly Sheena doesn't flow, and I wouldn't feel confident in my choice. So one I really love is the name Shiloh. So it takes the S and the H from Sheila, and I think Holly Shiloh sounds really, really nice because you've got that strong L repeating, and Shiloh means tranquil, a name I love. Really think it's gorgeous, so pretty written down. And then I did Elara, which takes the ending of Sheila and goes Elara. and I really think that's kind of a smart way of doing it, just taking the ending as our tribute, because it blends so well with Holly. Holly, Elara sounds really good together. Elara has a lovely meaning. It's the Greek goddess name, and in Italian it means happy, so really, really good reason to use it. Sheila actually comes from the same source name as Cecilia. And that's why both of them mean blind, because Cecilia comes from the old Roman god Celius, who is the Roman god. He was the son of the fire god, and so he was really, really good with fire, but the smoke got in his eyes, he was blind. And then the name Cecilia and the name Shirley all came from those, name Sheila, sorry, all mean blind, which is really interesting, I think. So you could go with Cecilia, so Holly Cecilia sounds really lovely and very, very reminiscent of a Sheila. You can go Cicely or Cecily as well, but I think Holly Cecilia, Holly Elara, or Holly Shiloh to honour Sheila. Somebody has chosen the name Toni for their little girl. Isn't that cool? Such a cool name. It is like the light shade of brown, and you also think of the tawny owl, and she was looking for middle spot. I was like, yes, bring it on. And then actually it's quite tricky and hard, so I did it a couple of different ways. First of all, I sort of went into these sort of nature colour vibes sort of thing. So I did damson, which is a berry and also a colour like the damson, that sort of dark maroon colour. So I thought tawny damson sounds really, really good together, and it's not immediately, you're not calling them like jade green or emerald blue. Tawny damson sound, I thought, well, she's got her Etsy name already. Tawny sounds almost vintage botanical, even though it's not, it's a colour. So then I did juniper, which is vintage botanical. It's a berry again, it's the berry that they make gin with if you're a gin lover, and I thought tawny juniper sounds beautiful. I don't know what the surname is. Or azalea, which is a flower but has a real vintage botanical kind of vibe to it. Tawny azalea. La-da. She doesn't need a surname basically with that name. Absolutely love those. Let me know what you guys think. So I've done loads for this one. Strap in, but we're going to hear some good names. So basically this was my vibe, but a really tricky brief. So I had this message from this lovely woman who already has a little boy, Sunny Wilder, and she's having a girl, and she's got this really long list, and she's got a long list of first names and a long list of very brave middle spots. And I get the vibe, but I get the dilemma that she's not kind of being able to fix all these names together. So her first name list was Marlo, Romy, Eloin, Bronte and Lyra. Really nice, kind of I would say like whimsical, proper strong girl names. The next middle names were like Pixie, Coco and Dusty. Whimsical, so much more sort of playful and light-hearted names, which works really well in the middle spot. So I was like, well, I can't really get these to sort of match together all that brilliantly. So I thought I would take all the first names and do a middle name spot in her style, then all the middle names and do a first name spot in her style. And that's what I've done. I've done Marlo Sage, I've done Romy Magnolia, so going into using the M and having a longer middle name, which I think is really in her vibe. I've done Eloin Clover, and I love the name Clover for a first or a second. I think Clover, Eloin sounds really lovely with those strong O's going all the way through both of the names. Bronte Moss. Bronte means thunder or fiery one, and I think that Moss really sort of levels it out a little bit, makes it really gentle, and she likes those sort of word names. Remember, she's like a Pixie, a Coco, a Dusty, so I think this is within her realm of bravery as well. Lyra Fable, so using the L's. What do you think of those? I feel like I'm holding my breath a little bit. And then the next ones, I took the middle names, and this was much harder. To find a first name, please join in below. A first name for Pixie, a first name for Coco, and a first name for Dusty. Please come up with some, because I think so many people will love this type of challenge and this type of name, but it's really hard. So for Pixie, I have done Rosalind Pixie. So Rosalind, R-O-S-A-L-I-N-D, Rosalind Pixie. So I like it because I think the ending on the strong D leads you into the strong P for Pixie. And I also think it almost needs to have, not be a word name for the first name, to have Pixie in the middle. So I like the fact that this was her whimsical vintage vibe first name, really unique as well. And then the playful middle name. Then with Dusty, I absolutely love the name Winsome. I absolutely love it. If you've read Sorrow and Bliss, my favourite book ever, and I've done the middle name Bliss in a minute. I'm seeing it on lots of forums at the moment. It's just vintage brilliance, and I think that because she also has a Sunny Wilder, Winsome brings in the sounds from his name, so I think he might like it because I know he's helping to choose. And then for Coco, again, I found this really hard and I have gone with Posy. So Posy being like a bouquet of flowers, so I thought Posy Coco sounds really nice, really pretty. And I just realised I've missed off Aloin, and I had done Aloin Bliss, which I love as a middle name, Aloin. Did I miss it off? If I didn't, I will take this bit out, I will. So those were my names for her. So we have Aloin Bliss, Marlo Sage, Aloin Clover, oh that's it, I did two, Romy Magnolia, Bronte Moss, Posy Coco, Rosalind Pixie, and Winsome Dusty. Am I just writing Barbie movie character names right now? I think I am. A new career afoot for me, but I absolutely love those names, and thank you for the brief because I absolutely adored it, and hopefully you find something. So let's carry on. Next up was a nickname dilemma. Almost. She wasn't too sure if her names were too matchy-matchy, so I think that's a very personal taste thing. Like I've got Freddie and Finn, which I love because I think they complement each other with the F, but the names were different enough, one being vintage and one being more modern, for me to be happy to use both. Whereas she has asked me, we love the name Eloise, Ellie or Ella for her nickname. However, we have an Eddie who's an Edward. Is it too similar? So I love the two names together. I think Eloise and Edward work really, really well together as a pair. I think if you love the name, of course, you've got to use it. Got to use it. But I was thinking with the nickname, maybe that's where you change it up. So Eloise actually lends itself to a few different nicknames, because I do think that Ellie and Eddie, that is so similar, you're just gonna muddle yourself up. So you can go with maybe Lo. I love the name Lo, and no one really goes with it, but I think it's really, really beautiful to me. Lo as a nickname. You could even go Lois with Eloise, because that is right there in the middle, and I really, again, think that is really trendy. So when she's like a teen, she might want to be like Lois. That's quite cool. Or she can even go with Izzy, because you've got Eloise, so you've got that strong sound at the end. Or Zizi, which again is really trendy, and I think I would try to go with Zizi over Izzy, because there's quite a lot of Izzy's for Isabel, and I really like Zizi. So those were some ways I would play around with the nicknames when you're looking at a name. Don't always have to go with the obvious beginning of the name. She loves the name Atlas and Arrow, but she's too scared to use them. So these kind of word names, but I get the vibe. She wants the vibe of it, but she doesn't know if she's brave enough. And Atlas is actually getting really popular. It's not going to be such a wild and out there name by the time our kids are like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There will be other kids called Atlas in the school. It's about 302 in the charts in the UK. So quite wearable, really high up there. Arrow, a little bit more of that word name lower down, but I did say you can flip that and go with something like Archer. So it literally means the same thing, like archery and arrow, but it's got really much the same vibe. So nickname could even be Arrow, or you could still do lots of arrow symbols for his wallpaper and stuff and bring that vibe into it. So then I looked at other sort of travel inspired words, because that seems to be the similar thing between Atlas and Arrow, and I'm also beginning with A. But I did River. So River is the fastest rising name in the UK for girls and boys, so the fastest gender neutral rising name. Really matches her style, but really, really wearable if Atlas still feels too unique for her. It's really outdoorsy the same, but much more popular. Wilder, weirdly, Wilder is still quite low down because it's middle spot. Everywhere it's a middle spot, but it's starting to get some use as a first name, and I think it's much less used than Atlas, but almost feels more wearable because it's got that surname as first name thing going for it. Or I really loved Atticus. So I know I said to Harriet that Atticus was a little bit too many T's, but she obviously likes Atlas, Arrow. Atticus just feels like the natural next name for her because it's a really strong literary name. Again, a name I absolutely love. It means rugged close, or a person from Attica, which was in Italy, I think, in Rome. And it's a literary name as well, Atticus Finch. So a lot going for it. So I hope she's going to like one of those. Okay, last up, how long have I been chatting to you? Forever and ever. Is due on Friday. Oh, she's had the baby. I'll have to text her. Maybe it's late because it's Monday now. So she loved the name Rafferty, but the partner wasn't too sure. They already have a Frederick. So I have already texted this to her, actually. I texted this to her last week, so don't panic. She did get the name. So I was saying I didn't really know why he didn't like Rafferty as well. So is it something about it? Maybe it was the Rafferty Freddie thing. I wasn't too sure. So I would say that their styles, Freddie and Rafferty, are quite cheeky chappy. names. There's sort of this cheekiness to it. So I did Nathaniel, which I think has got the same kind of cheekiness to it, with Nate as the nickname, and I think that worked really well. I did Emerson with the nickname Sunny, because I think like Freddie and Sunny sound really, really good together. And if they liked Raffi, I imagine that's what she liked about Rafferty, then Sunny really, really fits as well. I did Fletcher because she liked Rafferty. I thought Fletcher would be the two F names for the boys then, but it is super playful, just like she likes. Or for boys, she could do, other than Rafferty, obviously there's Rafe, Raphael and those, but I was thinking if the dad doesn't like Rafferty, I wonder if he would like those. And they seem different vibes. Even though sometimes the name's got a similar sound, it doesn't have the same vibe always. So I thought maybe Rufus, it's got that cheeky chaffy vibe to it that she seems to really like. It's traditional. It's just a super smiley name, Rufus. I think it's so playful and I loved it for her. Or even Reuben, because I feel like Frederick and Reuben sound really good together as well, and it means behold, a son. So I think that's really, really cool. So I will actually text her and see what she named the baby. I don't expect her to reply though, because God, I wouldn't be texting some random from Instagram back when I just had a baby. Right, chat. I spoke quick. Sorry for that. I hope you enjoyed the consultancy. Let me know if you want more consultancy videos or just traditional lists. And yes, you can find my Prism name download over on Baby Name Envy, which is my Instagram. So what I did is I put together my method, which is kind of like personality, risk, so sort of how brave or brave or daring you want to be, your identity, your style, and name meanings. And so it's called Prism, and a prism both illuminates and reflects. So I'm going to ask you to reflect on your own life to illuminate your baby name. See what I did there? And it's over there now, and it's a little worksheet. So basically you can sit with your partner and go through and do it, and just you sort of research off again using the prompt. So it's a really fun little thing I put together for you guys, which I hope you really love. And I'll see you soon, guys. Bye.